Okay, so you may or may not have watched a video I made about Ness and Death Battle and why he doesn't work very well. I'm wrong now. So the Smash Bracket, or Inkthinks, which I believe is the main creator of the whole project, takes the Smash roster and puts them in a fighting scenario. Recently, at least as of writing this, they had just made Red vs. Ness, and the fight animation is 8 minutes long with the video being half an hour. What the fuck? Anyways, I love that video so much, so I figured I'd come back and explain why it is one of the best Smash Bracket episodes ever. First off, the matchup. Granted, Pokemon isn't too similar to Earthbound, but it was either that or Dragon Quest, seeing as they already did Lucas vs. Wario, and they did Joker vs. Snake, which is probably the best matchups respectively. So this was an S-Bex thing, and they did really well with this. Starting off with the combatants, it's actually a 6 vs. 1, with Red using the 3 Kanto starters, Charizard, who can Mega Evolve, Blastoise, and Venusaur, Lapras, Snorlax, and Espeon, and Ness doesn't even get stuff like Psy-Fire or Psy-Starstorm, just stuff like Psy-Shield, Paralysis, Hypnosis, things like that. I mean, Ness can still pull through. Yeah, he's at a disadvantage with numbers, but I mean, he made Magic Hint. That's like a universe in his head, so I mean, he should be fine. Alright, pack it up, let's go. Ness is fun. Come on, let's go. Alright, so I'm about to see my favorite video game character get beat into a pulp by Discord moderator Beta. What the fuck? Oh yeah, they'll be taking into account Manga Red, Manga Ness, and Book Ness, so he could pull through if he has some wacky bullcrap. While I silently huff my copium, let's talk about Red's analysis. They go on to state that Red and Blue are smart as hell for 11 and 12-year-olds. I think Red is. For defeating the best of the best in the Kanto region. Already, Charizard is moving at 1.5 times the speed of sound, and he can shake a whole island, not destroy it, so take that as you will. And that's not even including Megas, which can just straight up amplify your power, so you could probably destroy an island if you wanted. Joy! Venusaur is next, and they gave him the ability to cut stone in half, which I couldn't find a calc for, so I can't really put him anywhere. But he's really just good for poisoning and putting opponents to sleep, so it's fine. He's cool anyways, he's my favorite starter. Anyways, they started to cover Blastoise, who was able to blast a hole through a hill. So that's around building level. Remember this for later. It can also apparently fly. That's cool. I mean, I didn't know that. Snorlax, as Ink puts it, is...
Like a walking yo mama joke, Snorlax is so hefty that he shakes an entire city just by jumping on the ground.
He can also just outspeed a moving bullet train, which is around 160 kilometers per hour or 100 miles per hour. It can also learn stuff like Hyper Beam, Surf, Attract, and Shadow Ball. What the? And then they introduced Lapras, while not having any feats, can at least straight up freeze a geyser, so there's that. They also know Parasong, which could just straight up kill Ness. The final Pokemon is Espeon, which can predict opponent's next move and just reflect status moves. So if Ness were to Psy-Flash Omega, and it's the insta-kill option, he can just die. Like, straight up die, because it just happened to Espeon. It can also use Trick Room, so if it's slower than Ness, it can move first. That's it for the Pokemon stats, and apparently Red will jump into an attack to protect his Pokemon, and they do the same. He also doesn't have to speak to command his Pokemon, even if it's all of them at once. Ness is definitely gonna have a hard time dealing with these 6 Pokemon, including Red, so let's start talking about his stats. Starting right off the bat, Ness can at least destroy a tank, and that's on his own before Magic Hint, before any sanctuaries. Forgot about that part of the game, not gonna lie. He can heal via either Psy Life Up or Psycho Healing as stated in the books, and he also has Psy Shield, which halves the damage and sends it right back to the opponent. You can definitely guess what Paralysis and Hypnosis do, so I won't explain that. He also has Psy Teleport, which allows him to teleport to places he's been to already, as long as he can get a running start. Psy Flash is quite bullshit. It is a ray of light that can blind, paralyze, or just straight up kill an opponent. This can also target multiple enemies at once, so he could quite literally one-shot the whole team if they were all out at once. Lastly, his signature move is Psy Rockin', which Ness himself describes as a rocking 150 mile per hour fastfall that represents the ultimate manifestation of his soul. A lot of words. Instead of stats, he also has things like the Franklin badge, which can reflect lightning and only lightning, but he has to hold it out in front of him. There's also the Toothbrush, which can paralyze opponents, the Bag of Dragonite, not the Pokemon, but it can just turn him into a dragon. He can also use bombs, and the Teddy Bear, which can tank damage for him. Now for some bone-chilling things, which is very disturbing. There wasn't a warning in the video itself since it aired as a premiere first, but I will since it still kinda irks me. If you don't like excessive blood and details like that, you can skip to this part of the video shown on screen. 3, 2, 1. Long story short, Ness was teleported into an alternate dimension by the Manny Manny statue, where Ness could unleash his full potential with practically no consequences. Ness yelled out and screamed, causing the sun to burst, the earth to tremble, the sky to shatter, and a shower of blood gushed from the group of older kids. Thick and eerie black clouds swirled into a vortex, and thunder rang out high and low through an atmosphere that boiled like a witch's cauldron. Violent lightning lashed like celestial whips against the old schoolhouse. Window panes smashed to pieces, classrooms crumbled in silence, and people fell to the ground one after another. Children throughout the playground were assailed by a whirlwind as sharp as knives. There was a child whose hands and feet were ripped off with overwhelming force, and then something like an explosion tore them to pieces. That's as far as I can go before I start getting queasy myself, but to say the least, Ness can blow up the sun. I think he'll be fine. On top of that, he has some sort of auto fight, which I believe is just the manga's interpretation of the auto battle feature. Regardless, it still happens, so... Okay, so you're probably thinking to yourself, Ness blew up the sun and Blastoise put a hole through a hill. No way Red can win. Well, the animation made it look like Ness was about to lose, but if you remember, Ness doesn't like fighting. He'll refuse to kill people unless if it is absolutely necessary. I mean, think about it. Whenever Ness wins a battle, it says, "Annoying Reveller, stop moving," or "The Cranky Lady turned back to normal," not "Annoying Reveller was burnt to a crisp," or "The Cranky Lady passed away." Unless if it's life or death for him, then he'll fight. But regardless, I'm sure the animation will be great. Let's talk about the music. The track for this battle is The Best in the Boundless by Sky T, which I'll link to in the description. I'm just gonna say it right here, this is my favorite track in a versus battle series. Even considering Death Battle, it is still my favorite. I won't explain too much, so just go listen to it yourself. It's an amazing track. Okay, now for real, let's look at the animation. First off, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, it's around 8 minutes, but it's still really good. I don't want to explain too much, but just some highlights. Before the countdown begins, the Earthbound encounter swirls play, and that's just nice. Also, while it's on Ness, you can see the battle background like you normally would in Earthbound. Crazy attention to detail. The smash combo at the end of the Espeon part is really nice, and the final hit is impactful. Then, Red takes out Blastoise and Lapras, and Blastoise launches himself at Ness in his shell. I kid you not, he takes out the teddy bear and protects himself. And it's for a split second, so you have to be, like, really good at noticing tiny-ass teddy bears, which is very specific. Then there's Charizard, absolutely wailing on the kid. The paralysis part is a bit weird to me, but when I look back, he probably doesn't want to hurt Charizard. Then it goes to Red, and the original Pokemon theme song starts playing. Red rolls away from an exploding bomb and throws out all of his Pokemon. Venusaur uses what I think is Bullet Seed, while Snorlax buffs itself, and Espeon takes it out of the ground and makes the seed circle in the air. Charizard adds a flamethrower into the mix, and then Espeon sends it straight at Ness. That then makes it into a Psychic Fire Tornado thingy, and allows Charizard to push Ness into it, but Ness manages to use Psy Shield to half the damage. Then Charizard carries Lapras into the air so she can Ice Beam, while Blastoise Hydro Pumps. Ness screams even louder, as he's frozen solid and set blasting off again by Espeon. Finally, he gets his shit absolutely mixed by Snorlax, who finishes off with a Hyper Beam. I cannot describe how hyped that was when I first watched it. I honestly thought Ness was about to die. After he's launched, he manages to throw a bomb at Red's feet, and although he was protected by Charizard, he is still damaged pretty badly. Then this scene plays. Holy shit. That is what you call a hype scene. Charizard then uses Beat Up, which brings in all 6 Pokemon for one big attack, like the all-out attack from Persona. Ness is just barely able to put up a Psy Shield, and then Paula comes out to Ness.
Ness, please, we need you.
Remember how in Mario vs. Sonic Remastered, Mario says "let's go" like a badass? Well, Ness does the same thing, but he says okay.
Okay.
I popped off, because at this point, it's a 1v1, and he looks beyond pissed. This battle was great, and while yeah, it was a total wash, it still made it look pretty even. I cannot explain how hyped I was. There's more in the video, but I'll leave that for you to discover on your own. I really do hope Smash Bracket keeps this up. This was honestly one of their best episodes they have ever made. So for now, that's all I have to say. I'm out of here.